6.7 thousand. That's how many views my first Rumble video had gotten. I still don't know what to say to that. I'm honestly just still shocked that it did that well. It legitimately just... I don't know what to say. Granted, I've kind of started to loathe that video a little bit, because I just look like a complete and utter moron. But even still, a lot of people got hyped from that, and it's closing at almost a year now since I first posted that video. I think it's time I actually do something a little bit better. So, I think it's time to return and do something a little more proper. And what better than to show people how to actually play Rumble. Let's go over the fundamentals of Rumble. Well, I suppose we have to start somewhere at least. Granted, I did learn from some, helpful people on the internet to kind of be like, oh, you should do this, you should learn that and everything and all, but I have seen some videos. I've seen plenty of videos out there talking about a lot of different things, and of course these little bubbles right here definitely tell you important things to kind of learn about some stuff. But I think honestly, the best way to learn from other people is actually learning from other people actually in the game. So instead of just listening to some YouTube video. Wait a minute. Instead of listening to a bunch of different people, I want to actually, legitimately listen to the community, the actual people, and test things out myself. So, basically what I'm hoping to do with this little series is essentially go through every single move and every single tactic, every single combo you can do, basically everything that you can do in this game, essentially try and, one, make myself learn, but also teach you guys what most of the community does as well. At least that's the goal. And that also means I'm going to have to talk to people. And knowing me, that's not going to be easy. But for the time being, we need to get the basics out first. So, in case you haven't already, go check out my other video and see what that's like. It's a great video in terms of writing. I don't think the visuals really look great, but go ahead and check that out in case you want to know how my experience with coming back to Rumble is like. In this, we're going to teach the basics. So first things first, one thing I didn't actually ask before in that last video is what exactly do you do in Rumble? You throw rocks at people. Simple. Well, the question comes, how does one throw rocks at people? And that's where our move list comes in, which shows us kind of the basic moves, not so much the combos, but even still, it is a good way of learning how to actually do things. So for right now, I'm going to assume, as of right now, we are starting off as just a basic white belt. Of course, there may be people out there that are like the, of course, black belt, which is most of everyone, but even still, we need to start with the basics, and I'm going to assume either you're some sort of just newly fresh white belt, just picked up the game, don't know what's going on, and you're looking for a little help. Here's your help. Of course, also, you could be just a grizzled veteran black belt, and you obviously know how to do everything. Maybe this video would definitely help to get some of your white belt friends to learn what to do, but, I'm grasping at straws. So, first things first. How exactly does one just make rocks appear? First things first, we have the way that moves work and the positions you need to be in. And I'm going to throw a little terminology that I'm literally just making up on the fly here, but there is 3 separate alignments that you need to kind of master. There's going to be a lot of people out there that's probably going to say, oh, this game's really hard and everything, it's difficult to try and pull moves off and everything and all. Don't listen to them. Know what you're doing. And one of the big things that should be learned is your 3 alignments. So this right here, this is a position you need to be in to spawn a disc. And by the way, I'm actually not gripping anything, at all. So, you can see this is me actually gripping here. I'm not gripping anything. One of the big things you need to learn about is the 3 different alignments. That, of course, is your rotation, which you can see. And I actually do need to test this out here because I'm actually curious. So I think this little green dot here actually shows your head alignment, basically your orientation alignment. So I don't think, yeah, that basically shows your orientation, basically your head alignment, just to, you know, keep normal and everything. So of course with your orientation, always keep your eyes on your opponent. Basically, if you look around, I don't know if you can see this, but you should be able to see maybe that's going red, hopefully. Hopefully that's going through right. So basically, if that dot right there, which I can see, goes red, that means that wherever the hell you're looking is not where you're supposed to be pointing. So sure, you could easily be like this and everything and all, but if you're trying to do it at this point here, it's not going to work. You can actually, here, let me actually do a different one here. So you can actually see how my head is able to cause it to not be focused. And that's important. Any sort of move that you're able to do, just go into that position and just see if you just grip without gripping anything. Just, if you do that, you're good. And it happens automatically. It's a fantastic little thing. I think I learned that from Jay Stevenson, funny enough, on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I learned that trick from him, but basically you just do this without gripping anything at all. And if you just grip automatically, that means you're in the correct alignment, which of course goes for rotation along with your head alignment, which you should be able to see that, as well as also position. Now, rotation is a little strict, to say the least, because if you rotate your hands just a little too far, you can definitely get out of alignment easily. Your head is a little strict as well, but you should just be focusing on your opponent in general anyways, so why the fuck are you looking over here when you're trying to fight the guy over here? But surprisingly, position is really lax. Like, I'm still able to pull this off even here. And that's like nowhere out to here. It's pretty crazy to say the least. Like, you can go really short, you can go like really tight in, and it still works. That's how flexible your position can be. It's pretty flexible, to say the least. So this is how to spawn a disc. You essentially go from this position here, where you have your hands, you know, palms upward, hands to your side, and just simple as that. Now, this little timer here means absolutely nothing. That's essentially the amount of time you have before your move is basically, you know, in terms of your spawning, is just done. And mind you, this is how long you have to go from here and then just drop it and back in. That's how much time you have. I think it's about 2-ish seconds. But so long as you keep holding this, you'll still pull it off. The big thing that you should focus on is getting from position A to position B. It's that simple. But this shot timer essentially just tells you how long you have before you're able to still pull the move off. But honestly, you could just do it simple as ever. You don't have to be quick about it, but you have to get there. We've now learned how to spawn a disc. Next up, we're going to look into the pillar. So the pillar is pretty simple. All we need to do is just kind of rotate like so, and then up. So we're essentially like this. Hopefully you can see that. We're essentially that. Boom, there's a pillar for you. But let's talk the structures themselves, because one of the most important things is talking about the different structures that we have. First off is, of course, the disc. Now I'm going to rack your brain a little bit. The disc has an integrity, as of course a structural integrity, as all structures have. This has an integrity of 0. The thing is that it does 1 damage. So of course you have, obviously, your health bar. This is able to do 1 damage, but it has a structural integrity of 0. So how is that possible? Well, the thing is, and no shit, I could literally step on this and I'll take damage of 0. I'm not kidding. Like, here. Now here's something crazy. I just said that this has a structural integrity of 0. Now, it's able to do 1 damage. As it is right now, as I was able to break it before just by stepping on it, now this can actually do 1 damage. Watch this. As you can see, 1 damage. So, what the fuck? Well, here's the thing. First off, so long as a structure is, you know, stationary, then it will have its normal structural integrity. It'll have a normal integrity. There we go. So, this disc just simply has a structural integrity of 0. But the reason why it's able to do 1 damage is because it spawns moving immediately. Pretty simple stuff. It just, you know, it's moving immediately and it'll always do 1 damage. Now, here's something interesting. These 2 pillars are totally different. This structure here versus this one here, you can see, is grounded. So, while this is normally free-floating and everything, you can see this little gradient effect right here. It means it's grounded. You can kind of see it similar with this disc. You can see it's a little shaded, compared to this one, which is not. With a grounded pillar, that means that, of course, it is grounded, meaning it actually has a higher integrity. While this is not moving and always has an integrity of 1, though the disc is moving, it will break this. Normally. It can't break this pillar here because it's grounded, meaning it gains integrity. Put simply, you have a pillar, it is just by itself is 1 integrity. Now has 2 integrity, now has 3 integrity until it stops moving. Simple stuff. So, we've learned to spawn 2 different rocks. Now let's look into the one move that I've been using a lot of, which is, of course, the straight. Now here is where I need to say this. Do not strike hard, do not move fast. One of the big things that needs to be especially told is don't move fast or strike hard. You're not punching a rock, as a lot of people have usually done. You're not punching rocks. You're just moving them, modifying them. You're making them move. It's nothing crazy, nothing wild. You just move them. It's that simple. A lot of people will usually go way too hard on some of these, and they'll end up moving these structures way too hard, way too fast, and you'll wear yourself out. Big important thing is don't move fast, do not strike hard, you're just going to tire yourself out more. Insert happy clip of him being fucking, you know, just going super hard at it like he's playing Blade and Sorcery or something, I don't know.
Oh, I see. My arms are too tired. My arms are too tired. No, he saw that. He knows I'm tired.
Well, I guess more thrill of fight, actually. With that all said and done, I think we have everything. So we have the disc, which we start from spawning structure stance to that. And of course we have the same thing with a pillar. And we have our straight. One of the big things that I actually did before way long ago is just practicing these basic moves. You just send a disc, spawn a pillar, and you try and straight it. Just to get used to that. It's a simple little thing, but it is important. We spawn the disc, we spawn the pillar, and we straight. Get used to that and keep those movements going on, and we should be good to go. It's not easy, but just keep practicing with it. Also, quick little thing that I need to say before we move on. Sprinting is kind of an important little thing. Basically, just move your arms like you're, I don't know, Joseph Joestar, essentially. One of the more fun things, and one of the things you should try and do at the very least, is try and break all of these targets. For right now, there's not much we can do, but we can find out how all these targets work. So that 2 there is obviously very weak because, of course, we have just a, grounded pillar, which is really strong. We move it into the target, it'll obviously break a 2 and a 3, but the 4 will remain standing. These targets all can go all the way up to a 5, which tells you exactly how strong each structure is. So we can easily have our pillar here, totally grounded, and we can find out how strong it really is. And that's how we're able to figure out how strong a structure actually is. So, we have our strength tests, we have the different targets over there, which is another similar strength test, or if you will, some way of aiming, I guess, I'm not sure what. But now we have some of these more tougher targets to hit. It's not going to be easy, but I've gone through and broken a lot of these different guys, but they are really good at kind of getting some accuracy at the very least. I wouldn't entirely recommend actually training on these all the time, but, sometimes it is a little bit better just to, to actually try and do it. Just because, it's a fun little pastime. Try and break every single one of these targets as best you can. Obviously, for right now, our 4 is not going to happen, which is a real shame. We have a few different targets. There's a 2 right there, a 2 right here, another 2 here, a 3 right there, and I just broke that 1. There's also a 4 way over there, but there's no way we're going to get to that anytime soon. That's going to be for way later. So, let's try and break some of these 2s. Since we can't do the 3, we can do the 2. Let's see what we can do. So, how are we going to try and get a 2 to be broken? We have only just a simple disc, which can't do anything, and we have a pillar that, I think we could probably get this one. Let's try it. Oh! Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that works, which is fine, but we can't really get to any of these. Like, that's not going to work, and this one already has its own structures all around the place, has its own rocks all over the place. So how are we going to get those? Well, here's where things get a little interesting, because there is actually a way of getting these. If we just spawn a normal pillar, and then spawn another one, we're able to actually launch a pillar. And by straining it at just the right time, we can actually cause that pillar to strike our target. Oh, come on, it's so close. And this is pretty simple. All you need to do is stand about, yay far away. Or essentially, just spawn a pillar on top, spawn 2 pillars immediately, and it'll basically be the same thing. But basically, we can launch a structure pretty easily and pretty reliably, and just, launch it pretty far, to say the least. It'll be ungrounded, yes, but it is a good way of surprising your opponent. Oh, it's so close, come on. Yeah, there we go. Alright, nice. There's a bunch of pillars there. Well, let me clear those out. That'll do. Okay, let's try and get that one up high. Should be easy enough, right? Not so much. Timing as well is also very important. There we go. Yeah! Maybe use that one, try and get the other one there. But let's cut all the fat and get moving with actually one last thing I do need to show. So as I showed before, I was able to hit that target there, that 1. I was able to hit it pretty well. But here's something interesting. Sure, we're able to launch a pillar pretty reliably, but here's something crazy. We can actually try and hit the 3, I think. Maybe the 4, but I think we can hit the 3 via a very useful and very necessary, vital technique known as the bullet disc. Now, I have talked about this in the last video, but I'll explain it here. Essentially, you go into spawning, and you essentially spawn a disc and go into a straight in a pretty quick sense. It's not exactly super crazy difficult, but you basically you do it like that. You just go from spawning the disc normally, and you just go into the straight. It's simple, it's quick, and you don't have to move fast. Once again, do not move fast and do not strike hard. You're just going to tire yourself out. Look at how fast the thing goes, like here. The normal disc just falls immediately. But a fast disc like that goes super quick. I seriously recommend everyone who's starting, master the bullet disc. Seriously, make sure you do it. So we can hit the 4 here. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, there we go. Alright, nice. We can't exactly break it, but we can most certainly hit it. And that's better than nothing, I'd say. If you've learned to actually send discs out very reliably, as well as also pillars as well. Be sure to, of course, practice these sort of things. Be sure to also practice against some of these targets to actually send out pillars. Reliably, of course. Be sure to practice to launch pillars a considerable distance and height. And of course, master the bullet disc. Be sure to get used to that and just send it out quickly, because trust me, you'll be using it a lot. With that all said and done, it's finally time to actually start fighting people. Well, almost. One of the more important things we need to do, of course, is fight against Howard. In, of course, Howard's yard, because of course it's his. This is Howard. So, let's go ahead and face off against a normal Howard, level 1. I might maybe show level 3, we'll see what happens, but for right now, Let's go level 1 Howard. So Howard here will in fact use very similar moves to what we normally have. So in an actual fight, which of course Howard doesn't exactly do a good job at, modeling, of course, which is fine, naturally, but, it is important for a few certain things. First off, learn to get your defense and make sure you practice a good balance between offense and defense. I think that's just an in general sort of thing that should be learned no matter what. Look how fast he's moving. It's hard to keep him down. Oh, Jesus. That was a little wild. There we go. There's no way, but and also I might as well say there is no way you're able to actually basically dodge a bullet disc. Like you can dodge a normal disc easily. Like if I can do this here, let's see if I can do it. But you can see what I mean. Like you can dodge a disc easily, even from like this close up. Like that's easy. But look how fast that bullet disc goes. It's crazy fast. Defense here. There we go. Shit. There we go. One of the big important things is finding a way to have a good defense while having little openings for your offense. Of course, you can also use said defense as an offense in case they get a little too close. Jeez. Okay, let's see if I can. There we go. Trying to launch a pillar at Howard is not easy because, of course, he has a little hood. He has a little cover, basically. There we go. Try and get him moved a little bit. By the way, I might as well also say as well, there is a way, as you can see here, there is actually a way to just completely stop a structure from moving towards you. So if you get the shot, it's not the easiest thing, but it is possible. You can actually just straight a disc or something and just stop it from just like heading closer toward you. Let's see if I can do it with a pillar. Ow. Oh, there we go. Ha! Oh, you sneaky little bitch. Ha! Boom. Got him. Oh. Yeah, it's safe to say, fighting Howard is most certainly a very fun thing to do. And, of course, you'll start to kind of, get a little bit of disrespect for him and everything as you completely wipe the floor with him, but give it some time, and you most certainly will start to appreciate Howard being here. Because trust me, he's trying his best, and he's really fun to fight against sometimes. He is a slippery son of a bitch. You try and go level 3, but if you do, and you're able to beat him as just a basic white belt, oh, you most certainly deserve a little bit of respect. That all said and done, another quick piece of advice for you as well. You should be careful when it comes to actually straining a structure, as well as also, spawning a disc, because you can actually see, as you end up pushing those structures, you actually have a little bit of knockback. And it's important you know that sort of knockback, because if you end up having a little too much knockback, and then also you have like the suspended arena, which this isn't really a good one to use. This will do. So essentially, one of the more important things that should be learned is the importance of trying to control the arena. Now, one of the best ways to do this, actually, is, put simply, keep the center of the arena just behind you. Because trust me, it's a lot easier to try and control your opponent and try and knock him back as best you can. And also, I can show you. So, the different knockbacks, obviously, is the straight. It'll knock you back a little bit, as well as also the disc, and naturally, combining the two, you can have the bullet disc, using both ways of knockback. It'll knock you back pretty far. It's important to keep in mind where you are at the edge, so you're able to pull off different moves properly. Try and maintain control of the center of the arena. I think that's the most important thing to be learned from this, because if you have the center of the arena behind you, you are in full control. Because at that point, you can pull any and all sort of moves, and you can keep pressuring your opponent behind you. As well as also, you won't be able to, in a lot of cases also, you won't, possibly push yourself off. What is path? Hey, this path. And I think it's time for me to stop talking. I'm done here. I'm gonna sit down. My leg is starting to hurt still. Ow. I had a pretty harsh Charlie horse, and it don't feel good, even still. So I need to rest a bit. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, do be sure to leave a like, say something in the comments below with some other very civilized people on the internet. And also, quick thing, share in the comments, actually, anyone out there that's played Rumble, share your, I guess, share your favorite story of someone you fought against in Rumble. I have a few, and there's a couple of people up there in my friends list. The guy up top there was a very fun dude to face against. I'm glad he made it to Mountain. He was fun to face against, and it also reminds me of another very, prepubescent child, mostly, that was super scared of a lot of things I did, and I couldn't help myself. I ended up giggling from all the stuff that's happened and all the things I sent toward his way and everything. It just, I don't know. There's always fun people and everything. The one in the middle there is, I don't know if I can say this at all, but I'm pretty sure you can see it. That's Spiral. She fucking whooped my ass, but she's also, like, really fucking awesome when it comes to facing off against people in Rumble. I don't know exactly if she'll end up fighting this. Hopefully she will. She was fun to face against for sure. I think I was a red belt at the time when I faced her, because I was really close to getting to black belt, and I faced against her, and she was like a really good black belt, and she was super fun to face against. I also had Lux in my ear too, which didn't help. And then of course prompted conversation. Most people usually will end up staying quiet, but you kind of keep voice chat on just for in general, sort of, in case someone says something. Of course, not everyone's going to want that, which is fine, and I get that, of course. But, I try and keep it on in case I need to say something to somebody, which actually happened. One of my favorite stories that I always love sharing about this game, I totally forgot to do this in the last video, I'm going to do it here. One of my favorite stories that I always love to share with people about Rumble is you'll face off against a lot of different people, and you especially, like, you are personally invested in fighting someone. Dustpuff is just flopped right now. One of the dudes I fought against, he was totally quiet for, I'm pretty sure, the second part of the match. So, we went through round 1, he was totally quiet. Halfway into, round 2, at some point he straight up had to stop everything, and he said, and I shit you not, he said, "Wait, hold on a second, I need to feed my Tamagotchi." And I was fighting him for a bit, and, he said that, and I'm like, what? I straight up just whole ass stopped, because of course honorable fighting and everything and all, but I straight up stopped, and he was gone for a good 30 seconds to a minute or so, and I straight up just had a moment of just what the actual fuck just happened? It just, like I said, you fight against a lot of different people, any sort of people, all people from all walks of life and everything and all. Dude straight up stopped an entire fight to feed his Tamagotchi, and I had to question him while we were still fighting. Straight up, dude, you have, I straight up asked him, you seriously have a fucking Tamagotchi? It's one of the funniest fucking fights I've ever had. It was absolutely incredible. I just, it totally caught me off guard. And of course, being honorable is one thing, but I straight up had, like I said, I had 30 seconds or so of just sitting there thinking, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my god. Check out my last video on Rumble, and as well as also any other sort of videos I've made so far. Recommendations, I really don't have much, since I try and at least upload at least once a month. I know it's not super great, but I'm trying here. Go check out either my operator video or my receiver 2 video. Those ones I'm really proud of so far. If at all you enjoyed this video, and you've seen a few others, 5 or 6 of my different videos and everything, and you like what you see and you want to keep up with me, do subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. We just now hit 250 subs as of me making this, which I'm super excited about. Honestly, I've been hovering at 249, and it's been sitting there for so long. 250 was the fucking 250 was the fucking cookie jar, and I could just barely fucking reach that shit. I finally got it. Goddamn. It was so nice to finally be able to pull that off. And I'm going to try and do a bit more with making more videos on Rumble, because 1, the first one was successful, and 2, I would like to get better at this game and have some way of helping people out, because I feel good when doing it. Thank you all so very much again. I really appreciate anyone that takes the time to watch any of my videos. Hopefully this was helpful. Anything that I may have missed or something, do tell me in the comments. I will be sure to try my best to say something about them. I'm done here. I'm gonna pay attention to my cat, because she is very much demanding me right now. I'll see you whenever I have next. Stay safe out there.